Hello world, my name is Samuel Archibald. I work as a connected systems engineer for Qubitro. Both myself and Qubitro attended this conference last year, so it's really good to see everyone again. Today we're going to be deploying an environmental monitor for one of my rooms using the new rack whiz blocks. And to do that, we're going to couple the Things network with Qubitro, and we're going to connect it all up with LoRaWAN, obviously. So hopefully this should take just the 10 to 15 minutes of this talk, and any one of you should be able to grab this example and duplicate exactly what I'm showing you. All right, to get to where I'm at right now, to follow along, you're going to need three basic things. One of which is the WizBlock core support put into Platform.io or the Arduino IDE. I recommend Platform.io as you don't need to rename the main file and you can have all the dependencies automatically installed. Then you also need a login for Qubitro, and you need to be logged into one of the Things network clusters. I'm choosing the North America 1 cluster. If you would like to follow along with me later, documentation is available in the WizBlock section of the Qubitro documentation. In order to connect the Things network to Qubitro, we're going to go ahead to Webhooks, add Webhook, Qubitro, go ahead and name this to something. Then we need the project ID from Qubitro. So we're going to our project settings, copying that, pasting it back here, going back into Qubitro, account, API, grab the signing key, which eventually is going to be per integration, not per account. Create Qubitro webhook. Now we need to go ahead and add our end device. Luckily for us, Rack was nice enough to add the WizBlock starter kit. We're going to choose from the US version and frequency plan. And I have this test EUI right here. You should follow the Things Network guide for creating application EUIs. And then the dev EUI is actually available on the front of the sticker on the WizBlock. And we're going to randomly generate an app key, and I recommend leaving the end device ID to whatever it's to the device EUI. Reasoning being is for Qubitro's purposes, and you can rename this to something friendly both in the Things network and Qubitro later. Go ahead and register that. Now, in order to send data through this device, we go to the Qubitro GitHub where we find the WizBlock sensor node example. We can copy that HTTPS link and clone that. And that's going to download this following project right here. The three main files are this main.cpp, which you're going to have to rename to .ino if you're using the Arduino IDE, then also main.h and sensors.cpp. The only one that we care about is this main.h file. This contains all the settings and also the EUIs and key. So let's go ahead and clear these out. Go back to the Things network, and we want to set these all to be the string version or the C string version. So we have the app EUI, the dev EUI, and the application key. And we're going to change this poll time to be 10,000 milliseconds. And we're going to comment out power gate because we're going to use the accelerometer. And we're going to go ahead and uncomment out the environmental sensor and comment out all the sensors that we're not going to be using. And these are all the sensors available to you in the starter kit. So now that we have all the settings for our project, we need to go ahead and plug in the WizBlock. Remember to make sure to have the antenna connected so that you do not damage the LoRa radio. Now I'm going to wait a second, then press upload. Compiled successfully. Now if we go back to the Things network, we should be able to see it create a join request in just a moment. There it is right there, accept join request. And we should start seeing data. But Qubitro doesn't accept just this random string of bytes. So we're going to go ahead to that blog post where we have a convenient little payload formatter example. I'm going to copy this, go to payload formatters, uplink, JavaScript, replace that with the new formatter. Now in live data, we should see acceleration, battery, gas, humidity, pressure, and temperature. If we just let the sensor sit there real nice and still. Hold on, I'm going to unplug first, actually. Plug in the battery. Which then, after the 10 seconds or whatever, we're going to see that join request again. Close this all up. Now I have a finished little sensor node that I can put in my room. And there's the data again. So know that the acceleration is never going to be 0 because gravity is affecting the accelerometer. But if I go ahead and take this and just move it around a bit, you can see that that raised to be 1.3 instead of just over 1, and I can be a little more enthusiastic with that. I don't want to shake my device around too much. There we go, 4.77. So now we can detect if someone walks off with our device, along with having all this data, which if we go back to the Qubitro portal and back to our project, we see this new device. We can give it a nice name. Now if we go to analytics, we can go ahead and start to plot out our data. So temperature and humidity. As well as the battery. And let's also do acceleration. And lastly, pressure and gas, even though they don't graph together very well. There we go. Now we have a little overview of our sensor. If I take this, unplug it, plug in the battery, close up the top. In about 10 seconds, we should see this come back. Here's the new join request. Then here's the new one, and we can see the actual battery voltage now that the battery is plugged in. You can go ahead and refresh this page, and we can see the latest battery. So now if I grab this device and we just, shake it around a little bit in order to see acceleration. There it is right there. Now we can go back to our dashboard and let's just create a new widget. For battery, which is in volts. And here's one of the latest battery voltages. Now, if you'd like to have a notification for when this device is stolen, we can just go to Rules, create a rule, then we can select an entity value for acceleration, greater than or equal to 1. Then you can select a webhook, an Azure function, Lambda function, or a Google Cloud function. I'm not going to continue with this, but that's just to show that you can go ahead and create a request if someone takes this device and creates an acceleration greater than or equal to 1. So that is how to go from just the WizBlock starter kit to having finished data in Qubitro in less than 10 minutes. I really can't wait to see what other people do with this, and while this example is incredibly simple just to demonstrate the ability to swap out the sensors on the WizBlock kit, people can go ahead and use that for a basis in their project.